unearned intimacy. That's what makes OnlyFans so dangerous, and I'm going to explain why. For those who don't know, OnlyFans is an amateur porn site. You pay a monthly subscription to follow some girls, and in exchange you get like pictures, videos of them naked, doing sex stuff, playing with toys or whatever. OnlyFans is pretty mainstream. A lot of girls are doing it. I recently figured out that of the women that you're likely to meet in the dating market, 2.6% of women are doing it, which roughly comes out to about 1 in every 38. There's a link in the description box if you want to see how I did the maths. So that's quite a few women doing amateur porn. And I think the fact that they are not seasoned professionals is part of the appeal. You know, there's that girl next door kind of vibe. It seems more accessible, more authentic. Porn consumers were getting a bit sick of the really fake, exaggerated porn industry stuff. So when their favorite influencers on Instagram or YouTube said, hey, sign up to my OnlyFans and I'll show you my tits, my vagina, my butthole, a lot of guys are like, yes, that's what I'm looking for. So the girls doing amateur porn on OnlyFans have tapped into a massive market. And I don't really think that it's the pornography that's so dangerous. Like a couple of naked photos doesn't really matter. But the thing is that OnlyFans is a lot more than just porn. It actually has quite a lot of elements similar to escorting. Now, full disclosure, I actually haven't ever signed up for OnlyFans, and I probably should have, at least for research purposes. So I don't know the specifics of the platform. I'm going based off what I've been told. But as far as I'm aware, one of the big appeals of following these girls on OnlyFans is that you get like that feeling of personal access to them. You get to interact with that girl. She responds to messages that you send her. You can request custom videos where she says your name. I've heard some women do like a dick rating service, which I think is exactly what it sounds like. You show her a picture of your dick and she's like, yes, it's a good dick, or yes, I like it, or whatever. But this is why it's more than just porn. It has those elements of escorting because she's not just an image. There's a real girl that you're interacting with. It's that access, that feeling of intimacy. That's what men are paying for, and I believe that's why OnlyFans is so dangerous. Why is this dangerous? Well, let me explain. Think of it like this. How much effort does it usually take for you to see a girl naked? You have to go through that terrifying ordeal of approaching a girl, of being interesting enough and attractive enough to get her to give you a number. Then there's the texting, the phone calls, the scheduling, going on a date, making conversation. Even having an intimate connection is often not enough. A lot of women are going to demand some kind of commitment. And when you add it all up, that's a lot of hours, days of effort and hard work that you've put in to see a girl naked. I mean, time's just one factor. That's not even mentioning the mental and emotional effort that is required, how much that's going to drain you, all of that vulnerability and courage that you have to show to get through that labyrinth. So you see, the price of seeing a girl naked is actually quite high, but that's normal. That's a reasonable price exchange. Why would a woman take off her clothes and show you her naked body unless you were in some kind of commitment with each other? Why would she interact with you or give you any sexual intimacy of any kind unless you're in some kind of relationship? She doesn't just go around doing that with strangers. No, it's because you're special to her. So all of those steps are necessary, but to a lot of guys, that seems like a lot of effort to put in just to see a girl naked. I'm being intentionally simplistic here. I know that men want more than just a naked body out of a relationship, but just stay with me here. The sexual drive is a massive motivation for why a lot of men seek relationships. And all of that effort, all of that time, all of that emotional exhaustion, that just seems like a really high price for a lot of guys to pay. And on top of that, they can do all of that effort and there's no guarantee of success or no guarantee they're actually going to be able to attract a woman that they're interested in. They might end up with some low quality woman, and that is exhausting at best and depressing at worst for a lot of guys. But hold on, what about this OnlyFans thing? Are you saying for just $20 I can have sexual intimacy with this girl and I don't have to put in any additional effort? I just pay this girl and I instantly get to see her naked, and she has to respond to me and keep me happy because I'm a customer. I can send her a picture of my dick and she has to pretend like she likes it. For just $20, that's like the bargain of the century. And so over time, what happens is the brain reconditions itself with new expectations, and it comes to believe that the appropriate price for sexual intimacy is around $20. That's nothing. I make more than that in an hour and I have something of a sexually intimate relationship with this girl, plus she's way hotter than any girl I'm likely to attract on my own. She's always available to meet my sexual needs when I want. She never says no. She always exists in my computer as my perfect fantasy. And if I ever get bored with her, I can just trade her in for some other girl. When that becomes the new normal, when your brain is conditioned to believe that access to a woman and sexual intimacy with a woman should be that easy. And then it considers all of the hoops it had to jump through before, all the steps it had to take. It's thinking, are you kidding? Who has time and energy for all of that nonsense? Do you see how dangerous that is? You're going to lose all of the motivation to actually put in the effort to get a real life girlfriend. You're feeling lonely, you're feeling sexually frustrated, and that is an unpleasant set of emotions to be feeling. And so in an attempt to alleviate your pain, at least in the short term, you go online and you start dating some e-girl, you start looking at her naked. That does soothe your pain briefly, but the price that you pay for that short-term alleviation of your suffering is that you have reconditioned your brain to believe that intimacy should be that easy. It's not a stretch to imagine that your future is as an old man with no dating skills, no dating history, because you always took the easy option. I mean, that's one of the downsides of this modern, abundant society that we live in, is that we're not used to struggle. We're not used to suffering. We have all of this amazing technology that meets our desires instantly with very little effort. And without even realizing it, we started to develop an entitlement. I should be able to get my needs met without much energy expenditure on my part. Gratification should be easy and instantaneous. OnlyFans plays right into this mindset, sucking men away from self-improvement, sucking men out of the dating market and onto their platform, pretending to satiate men's desires by offering fake, hollow intimacy that's just a shadow of the real thing. Yeah, it might work at alleviating a little bit of short-term pain, but inevitably the guys end up more lonely and frustrated than ever because it's not the real thing. Plus, they've wasted all this money. So how do you avoid this trap? Well, you've got to change the way you see the whole thing. When you're feeling frustrated or lonely, you should not be thinking of short-term solutions. You shouldn't be thinking, how do I get out of this unpleasant feeling? You're not entitled to have a painless existence, free from struggle. When you're feeling lonely, you should be thinking of the long term. Not, how do I stop feeling this right now? But what actions can I take now so that I'm not still feeling this in a year's time? You see, that emotional energy that you're experiencing, it's technically neutral. It can be negative or positive depending on how you use it. Your loneliness and frustration at unmet needs can be a source of depression, absolutely, but it can also be fuel for your motivation to become a better person, to fix up your life. It can fuel your journey to become a high-quality man, dating a beautiful, kind, feminine, intelligent, high-quality woman. That relationship with a truly special, high-quality woman who loves and cares about you is going to be 1,000,000 times better than fake interactions online with some low-quality woman who exploits men's loneliness by spreading her vagina on the internet. So if you're an OnlyFans user, you've got to ask yourself, don't I deserve more? After all, you only have this one life. It's precious. You've got to be greedy. You've got to say that in your life, you want those precious, rare, amazing, incredible experiences that make life truly worth living. You want the experience of a real relationship with an amazing woman. You should want that. And if that describes you, if that is an ambition that you have, then you've got to cut out the OnlyFans. It's not harmless. Those fake relationships are wreaking havoc on your brain. All of that unearned intimacy that you're receiving is just draining your motivation for actually seeking this in the real world. You have to do a complete brain reset. You've got to break up with your online fantasy girl and then grieve the loss of that fantasy, go through the withdrawal, cleanse your system. And then the next time you feel that familiar pull of that desire for sexual intimacy, harness that energy, use it to motivate you to take appropriate action in the real world. Do the self-improvement, educate yourself about female nature, establish that social circle of high quality individuals, approach pretty girls in real life on the street when you see them. It's going to be hard. It's going to take time, and it's not entirely going to be in your control. But that's normal. That's just life. And if it feels unnecessarily difficult, that's probably just because you have artificial expectations based on your exposure to OnlyFans. I think that this is a really important topic, which is why I wanted to cover it. But since I'm talking about porn and vaginas and stuff, there's no way this video is getting monetized. YouTube is my job, and so I hope that you'll forgive me for being a little bit selfish in what I'm about to say next. If you have an OnlyFans subscription, but you're not currently subscribed to my Patreon, I will take that as a personal insult. You value a woman's tits more than this man's brain. Is that the kind of guy that you want to be? On OnlyFans, you're paying some woman to take her clothes off and she's leading you deeper into misery. On Patreon, you pay me to keep my clothes on while I lead you into deeper realms of happiness. All right, seriously though, I promise you, if you go and cancel your OnlyFans subscription right now and instead you spend that money on something that's going to help you, like my Patreon, you're instantly going to feel better about yourself. You're no longer just using your money for short-term pain numbing, but you're actually making that statement to the universe that you are worth investing in, that your long-term happiness is worth something. And that's a cool message to send to yourself. That's good for your self-esteem. And check out all of these topics that you get if you sign up to my Patreon. You know, I'm not just asking for a handout here. My Patreon's just $5. I think the value is absolutely unbelievable. I release 2 new bonus videos every single week and it all accumulates. So right now there's probably like 100 plus pieces of exclusive content on the platform. Just to give you some insider information, it tends to be that the topics that I cover here on YouTube, I choose those topics because I think that they have widespread appeal and I want the views. Patreon is a lot more freeing because it allows me to go much deeper into the specifics of topics that I think are important without worrying about the YouTube algorithm. I go straight for what I consider to be the really important stuff, the absolute nitty-gritty and specifics of how this stuff works. So if you've only seen my YouTube, then you're missing out because absolutely some of my best stuff is on Patreon. If you take your self-development seriously and you're really committed to understanding gender dynamics and female psychology, I really recommend go and sign up at my Patreon. My latest video is a really interesting one. It's about men who place too much emphasis on their sex life when gauging the health of their relationship. You ever had that experience where you worry that something's wrong with you and your girlfriend because you're not having as much sex as you used to? Well, is that a legitimate concern or is there other things going on? I do a full exploration of that topic. It's just $5. I would really appreciate the support. I'd love to see you over there. That's all I've got to say. I'll catch you in the next one.